contributing pigment. Now y'all have heard me referring to what's underneath our natural hair color, and this is what we're going to talk about. The contributing pigment is the pigment that lies under the natural hair color. We must take it into consideration when we select a hair color. Generally, when you lighten natural hair color, you expose contributing pigment. The foundation of hair coloring is based on modifying this pigment with hair color products to create new pigment. In order to do that, we've got to understand the level system. The level is the unit of measurement used to identify the lightness or darkness of a color, sometimes referred to as value or depth. Colorists use the level system to analyze the lightness or darkness of a hair color. Now we want to look at our levels here so you can understand where I'm going with this. If you'll notice on this color chart that's put out by a company, and this has 11 levels instead of the 10, and I think the book told you that. This is the levels. If you'll notice, there's no identifying letter on these, and on most of the other color swatches there's letters, which we're going to discuss in a moment. But these 11 levels are the levels of natural hair color. It does not take tone into consideration, and that's where students usually mess up. If they take a 3, they think their client's hair is 3, but their client's hair may be, let's see if I can find another 3. I've probably chosen the worst one of the lot. There's a 3. Let's assume their client's hair is this color and we put this level on it. We want to think that it's something different. It's a different level. This has got tone in it. This is a neutral, meaning this is not cool, it's not warm. It is simply used to judge the level of color. And believe it or not, these two are the same level. I'm going to see if I can find some more examples for you. But this one has a tone. It's violet red, so it's going to be a warm tone. Let's try 4. Remember, this is a neutral. It doesn't have any warmth or any coolness in it. This is a level 4 that has a tone. So when we're judging a client's natural level, we sometimes let the tone confuse us, thinking, you know, all we're looking for is how light or how dark when we use these neutrals. Do you agree that that's the same amount of light or darkness in the two? It is. This manufacturer has been really good about fixing these. But this is a red-brown. So we see a lot of tone in it that we don't see in this. Do y'all see what the tone is now? You see it looks warm in comparison to our neutral. Let's choose another one so you can really see a difference. 8 is what we call medium blonde. That's with no tone. That's not warm, it's not cool. To me, under these lights, that almost looks cool because it almost has a greenish look. Do y'all see that? But it's not, it's a neutral. And here we have an 8 that's red. That's what the 2 R's stand for. So it's very warm. Do y'all agree that those are the same level? Not the same warmth or coolness, but the same level. Does that look like the same lightness or darkness to you? It is the same lightness or darkness, but look how much difference the tone makes in it. So if we've got a client that comes in and she's an 8, and this is what she's wanting, without seeing, you know, we're not going to look at our numbers here. This is what she wants. We can do it without any problem because we're staying at the same level, we're just changing the tone. But if she comes in with this and wants this, we run into some more problems, and that's what we're going to learn as we go through this unit. Now we know we've got different levels. Not only do we have the different tones, but we've got different levels. Alright, do you understand what level is now? It's how light or how dark the client's hair is. Most companies, and the considered to go by, is 1 through 10. but they've left the ends open. That's why one is the darkest hair can be. And then some companies open it up a little more with our lighter colors. All right, let's go on and talk about this a little further. Hair color levels are arranged on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the darkest and 10 being the lightest. The names for the natural hair color levels may vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. What is important is to be able to identify the degrees of lightness to darkness at each level. And where we want to determine that on the client is right back here where it's covered up with the other hair. Flip it over, hold it up to the light, and put your little color swatch there side of it until you can determine how light or how dark it is. Forget about how warm or how cool it is. Just decide levels to start with. The term tone or tonality is used to describe the warmth or coolness of a color. Reds, orange, and yellows are all warm colors, as are auburn, copper, gold, bronze, or honey. The cool tones are blue, green, and violet. Descriptive hair color names in the cool range include ash, drab, smoky, or platinum. When I first started training, we didn't have the array of colors you do to choose from today. And what is ash? And ash means green or blue base so that it will cut oranges or golds out, or reds, according to which one's down there, blue or green. And the manufacturers tell you now on the bottles it'll say base blue, base green. But all it had on the bottles was medium drab brown, dark drab brown. And what do we think of when we think of drab? Ugly to start with. Faded. I usually think of green because I think of the army fatigues and the green of it when drab. So luckily they've gotten away from that. They're using ash now, because if you ever set that bottle down on the counter, even though this woman had red she wanted to get rid of, and that's what was going to cut it, she'd see the medium drab brown. Nobody wanted medium drab brown color put on their head, even though it done the job. You know, just the thoughts of putting drab on there sounds ugly. Intensity refers to the strength of a color tone. Intensity is described as mild, medium, or strong. Strawberry blonde, copper brown, and bright oranges are various intensities of red shades. Let's look on here and see about the intensities of the darkness or lightness. And this is a good place right here where we can see the intensity. These are all red shades, but look how deep this one is. Let's see, this is an RR. Let's go to the down here, the 5R. You see how intense this one is as opposed to this one? Looks like we got a lot more color there. We do have more level. That's what they're talking about with intensities. This is trying to explain to you when the client comes to you and says she wants red hair, we can't let her just describe red hair, can we? We've got to get actual color swatches out and find out what red is it. Is it cranberry over here? Or is it the strawberry blonde over here? Is it burgundy? Or is it the blonde again with the red highlights? Artificial hair colors are developed from the primary and secondary colors that form base colors. A base color is the predominant tonality of an existing color. The base color influences the final color result. A violet base color will deliver cool results and will help minimize unwanted yellow tones. Isn't violet and yellow right across from each other on the color wheel? A blue base color will provide the coolest result and will help minimize orange tones that are in the hair. A red-orange base will create the kind of bright, warm results clients are looking for when they say they wish to be redheads. Gold bases create beautiful gold hair color from brunettes to light blondes. And that's just a few of the examples. When we get into our other units, we're going to go into this more. First thing we've got to do, once she has showed us what color she actually wants, is to come in and identify the natural level and the natural tone of her hair. The tone is a harder one to determine because some of the tone is going to be underneath what we see. In other words, if she looks warm to us, we don't know whether that underlying pigment is going to be orange, red, or gold, because remember, they're all warm. And it's vitally important that we do understand what that underlying pigment is. So one of the most valuable tools to help you with your work is the color wheel. Hair color swatch books provide a visual presentation as well. To determine the natural level, take a 1/2 inch square section in the crown area and hold it up. Allow the light to pass through it. Using the natural level finder swatches provided by the manufacturer, select the swatch that you think matches the section of hair and place it against the hair. It's also a good idea if you choose 4, thinking that's the natural level, to try 3 and 5 up there. Because sometimes just what we think is not going to be it, and we put it up there and it looks pretty close, so we settle for it. But it's important that we understand, is it that 4, or could it be the 3, which is darker, or could it be the 5, which is lighter? That's going to play a big role if we choose the right level in getting successful results. Move the swatch from the scalp area along the hair strand that you have out. This is how you determine the natural hair color level. Are we going to find the hair at the ends to be a little bit lighter than those at the scalp area? As we are. We may also begin to see some of the underlying pigment at the hair ends. Why is that? It's been washed more and it's faded. We've been out in the sun more. We've put a whole lot more of these alcohol products on it. Mousses and gels and hairsprays. So that's how we determine the natural level. But we said earlier that the majority of the clients that get hair color are doing so why? What did we decide that most of the clients that's coming to us for hair color? To cover gray. So we've run into a problem here. This client's got half gray hair and half dark brown hair. And she has chosen a color. Any color will do exactly on white what it shows there. If we put, you all right, this on white, what's it going to turn? Just like this. If we put this on white, what's it going to turn? Just like this. But we can't go through and pick out the white hairs and put this on and put something else on it. So what do we do about this client? How do we decide now that she's chosen a color what to do? She's got gray hair, 50%, and dark brown hair, 50%. Let me explain a little rule before you answer this. Explain a little something to you. If we're going to apply semi-permanent, we just choose the color she wants. Because the semi-permanent hair color is going to have no effect on her dark hair, except it may make it appear darker. It may not cover as well on the gray hair, so it may appear lighter, because semi-permanent is a coating color, and that's why I'm not getting too deep in this. But if we apply permanent hair color to this client, and she's wanting to go, let's say she doesn't want it real dark, so she's wanting to go to a 6, then we are considering her gray hair to get the formulation, and with her dark brown hair, when we add color on top of color, it makes a much darker color. You follow me? So we got to be real careful in that. The book gives us a chart of what to consider when we do gray. If the client is 30% gray, she has more pigmented hair than gray hair. So we choose our color by that pigmented hair or by that dark brown hair. What to use to make it turn the color she wants. If she has 50% gray, that means she's got 50% that's still dark brown. then it's a toss of the coin which one. If it was me, I would determine the darker color and choose by it, because when somebody gets to the point of having gray hair, it is better to err on the light side than the dark side, because darker colors make them look older. So you'd want, I always go with the gray. 70 to 90% gray, then you've got more gray than pigment, and most of the remaining pigment is located in the back of the head. What does the client see? Right here. What do we need to make pleasing to that client? What she can see. If she sees it and she's happy with it, she don't really, not all that concerned about what's there in the back, does she? So consider the gray. It's located right there in the front. 100% gray, there's virtually no pigmented hair. It all tends to look white, so you don't worry about anything but applying the color to white. Gray hair is normally associated with aging, although heredity is also a contributing factor. Even though the loss of pigment increases as a person ages, few people ever become completely white-haired. Most retain a certain percentage of pigmented hair. So the gray can be solid or blended throughout the head, as in salt and pepper. Gray hair requires special attention in formulating hair colors. And I know I've probably stood to confuse you at this point, but I'm wanting to make you think. Remember when I told you about the color wheel I gave you to color a while ago? I put it on white paper. Did you notice? When you color this, I would like for you to have you some construction paper that's brown, yellow, orange, or red. You don't have to draw your color wheel, but use those same crayons on those color papers and see how much different it is. And that's just how much different hair coloring is going to be from one hair color to another. If I take and color this with a bright red crayon, what color is it going to turn? Bright red. If I take a sheet of brown paper and put that red crayon on it, what's it going to turn? It's going to be muddy looking for one thing, and it's not going to be bright anymore. That's going to take the brightness away. It's going to be a lot darker. You follow me? It's the same thing occurs. Please use this. It was put there for a reason, to help you to understand as we go through this. Hair coloring is a lot of fun, but it's a lot of technical things you got to understand. One other thing I want to say about gray hair here. We talk about putting semi-permanent on it. A brand of kind of semi-permanent that the client can buy is Loving Care. They can go to Walmart and buy it. Excuse me. Most gray hair, and mine, this is certainly the case, is so resistant. Loving Care is a coating type dye that all mine will take from it is the base color. Remember, our base colors in hair color, and we're going to study them a little later, are blue, green, orange, red. You follow me? So it has a tendency to give hair the off colors because the hair being resisted, it's not absorbed into it like a permanent hair color. So permanent hair color is usually the best choice for gray hair because it has that chemical reaction that will open the cuticle scales and go in where that melanin's at, or the lack of that melanin now. All right? Do y'all have questions?
Is that why some old ladies' hair kind of turns a bluish color?
Kind of turns a bluish color. That is exactly. But the main reason you see the little ladies with the blue and the lavender hair, I know if you've seen the blue, you've seen the lavender. That is a temporary color rinse. It also just coats the hair. And the most popular use of it is to brighten up gray hair that has this yellow or dingy shade to it. And after using curling irons and different factors in their life, it causes it to turn gray. And it really looks dirty to me, or cause it to turn yellow. We either use the Glitz Away shampoo, which is purple, or either we use the weekly rinse in the white mink or something like that. And what's happening is we're using it every time that client comes, and although it's coating, it's getting coating on top of coating on top of coating. We should back off from using it, but oftentimes they had rather have the blue or the purple than that dingy looking yellow. So they won't let you not use it. They're afraid if you don't use it this week, that the hair's going to turn dingy again, and some of them it's real hard to get away from. But that's usually what it is, that glitz away shampoo or the weekly rinses.
Yes. Is that why when you color somebody's hair like bleach, you're not supposed to use a colored shampoo because that bleach is going to grab that color?
It is, and that goes back to the porosity of the hair. Remember porosity a while ago? The ability of the hair to absorb moisture. Any of our chemical bleaches raise the cuticle scales. If they are open, then this color that normally coats the hair shaft runs inside, and it stains the hair in there. It can't stain the cuticle, but it can stain the cortex. That's exactly why. Other questions? Those are some good questions, and I hope to raise a lot of them with you before we get through with this hair coloring course.